Namaskar and welcome back to our YouTube channel, VLSI for All, a hub for technical education and an epicenter for affordable VLSI coaching in India. Today we are indeed proud to have Mr. Kartikeya Kaushik, who is an All India rank 1 in the UPSC Engineering Service Examinations in 2021 in the stream of civil engineering. And currently, Mr. Kartikeya is posted at the Central Public Works Department of the Government of India. So, with your kind permission, can we start the formal interview?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Mr. Kartikeya, can you please introduce yourself in more detail so that our audience can have a glimpse of your background and what you currently do?
Okay, so basically, talking about my background, I was born in Kurukshetra in Haryana. Both of my parents are from Haryana, and I spent initial days of my childhood and did my primary education from Ambala in Haryana, and later on we shifted to Delhi. So most of my secondary and senior secondary education was completed from Delhi, and then in the year 2015 I cleared IIT JEE, and I secured a seat in IIT Roorkee in the civil engineering branch, and I graduated in the year 2019. And immediately after graduation, I started preparing for engineering services. And in engineering services, my first attempt, that is in the year 2020, I was not able to clear the exam. I was able to clear the preliminary and main stage, but in the interview stage, I could not clear the cutoff. So I went for another attempt in the year 2021, and I was fortunate enough to get All India rank 1 in that exam. So this is a brief background about myself.
Yes, sir. Moving on here, how did you prepare for the Indian Engineering Service Examination and why specifically you choose a civil engineering stream?
Okay, so to be frank, when I was studying, I did take coaching for IIT JEE, and I didn't have any preference in terms of the branch or anything. It was a decision which was entirely based on the rank that I will get in the exam. So, but I had a brief idea about civil engineering in general, and I did like the branch because I had a choice between electrical, mechanical, and civil engineering in different IITs. But I went with civil engineering because it was very practical. Even in my school days, I used to like the subject of physics a lot, and civil engineering involves a lot of common sense, and also it is a lot. There are a lot of aspects of mechanical and mechanics which are there at work. Interestingly, when I went to my college, some of my professors did let me know that our college was one of the oldest technical institutions in India, and the first branch which they started was civil engineering. And out of from civil engineering, various other branches like mechanical engineering, electrical engineering came out. So I was really pleased to see this. And after I graduated, I felt that I didn't want to go in the private field. I wanted to work in the public sector. And I think the best kind of jobs in the public sector are offered by the services which are there in engineering services. So that's how I went towards civil engineering and later on towards engineering services.
Yes, sir. Moving on here to the next question. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced while preparing for the engineering service examination, and how did you overcome them?
Okay, I think I forgot to answer the first part of the last question. That was, how did I prepare for engineering services? So initially, after my graduation in May of 2019, I went for coaching in Delhi itself. And I did coaching for 6 to 8 months. And after that, COVID hit us. So all of my preparation after that was self-study. And during COVID, there were a lot of challenges. Coming to your present question, there were a lot of challenges which were faced by me. And every aspirant went through kind of a depression phase during that period because our exam got delayed multiple times, at least 2 or 3 times our exam got delayed. And it being inexperienced in the field of like giving UPSC examinations, I kind of lost the plot in those months. So maintaining consistency was very difficult for me during that period because studying the same thing again and again, sometimes it becomes boring as well. But that is where the role of motivation comes in. If we have inner motivation, self motivation, then I think we can pass through these periods of depression or when we are feeling low. The second challenge which I basically faced was the speed at which I used to write, because in the preliminary this was not a really big factor, but I felt in the mains examination when we had to write subjective exams, uh, the speed of our writing and the way in which we are writing the answers to the questions really matters. So we have to be really crisp and concise in the way in which we write our answers. So it really took me some time to understand how I can increase my speed. And it was only in the second attempt that I was able to master this particular thing. I increased the amount of practice which I was doing. I used to skip some steps while writing the answers, some trivial steps, so that the amount of content that I'm giving in each answer is also reduced. And that also helped me to increase the speed. So this was the second challenge that I faced. And the third, I think, challenge was basically at the interview stage, because in my first attempt, I was not able to score a lot of marks in the interview. I think I scored 108 out of 200 marks. So it was a big like hurdle for me. It kind of in the second attempt, I gave a lot of mock interviews for that, and used to practice a lot in front of a mirror to judge the way in which I am talking to the panel. And that is basically how I tackled all these challenges throughout my journey.
Yes, sir. Could you please share with us your study routine during the preparation phase? Like what resources did you use?
So I was really sure that I'm going to limit the amount of resources which I'm going to use. So when I went for coaching during those 6 to 8 months, I made my own class notes, and I used to refer to those class notes only. Apart from that, so 90% of my preparation was based on these class notes only, which are available publicly, by the way. And secondly, to cover the remaining 10% of the syllabus, I used to refer to coaching textbooks. So there is a postal course which is given by coaching institutions, and I used to refer to that for the remaining 10%. These 10% of the topics were really small topics, which had a lower weightage, but they were significant for me because in the second attempt I was trying to maximize my marks. So I had to cover the 100% syllabus. So for the remaining 10%, I used these other sources. Apart from this, I don't think I went for any YouTube lectures or anything of that sort. I was very limited in my options so that I can revise multiple times the same amount of content that I have.
Yeah. What do you think sets apart successful candidates from the ones who don't make it to the examination? Like, what are the key factors you observed, like while in your both attempts?
See, basically, I think in UPSC exams, what I found difficult were basically three things. So UPSC demands a lot of, first of all, patience from the aspirants. Secondly, it demands hard work. And third, it demands consistency. So these are the three challenges which everyone is going to face. For some of the candidates, hard work will be easy, but the difficult part will be maintaining certain consistency. And also, the thing with consistency is that inner motivation, self motivation is required to maintain that consistency, because UPSC exams are basically a marathon and not a 100-meter sprint. in the college days, we get accustomed to the kind of preparation wherein we start preparing a week before our mid-semester exams or end-semester exams start. And that is really a bad habit which we developed during the college days. So it will be very difficult for aspirants to switch over to studying consistently for 6 to 8 hours every day for 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years, whatever the duration might be. So I think these are the three key components that sets apart successful people from the unsuccessful one. First of all, they'll have a lot of patience, and by patience I mean they will be able to take results in a positive way, even if they are negative. Try to always improve on the mistakes that they have done, and hard work definitely. And the third thing which sets apart is the patience that the candidates have.
Okay. Yes, sir. Like moving on to the next question, how did you stay motivated during the long and often grueling preparation period?
Yes, so basically, uh, I tried all sort of things. So first of all, I think I started with some YouTube videos. So there were a lot of people who were in this coaching industry and used to put out some videos every year in order to motivate the aspirants. But what I found was that this kind of motivation is short-term motivation. It can't really provide you the momentum that you need in the long run. So I think having a purpose for giving this exam is very important. So it can be different from for everyone. For me, it was like basically it was to make my parents proud, and also I had quite an interest towards working in the civil engineering industry. Uh, so that was a motivation for me. For someone else, the motivation can be different, but I'll say just try to find that inner motivation, that purpose for which you are giving this exam, for which you started this preparation journey. That purpose will definitely help you in getting through the times of lows and depression during your journey. So my I will advise aspirants not to go for these YouTube videos or such sort of things. Try to interact with the positive people around you, your family members, your friends who want good for you. And secondly, just try to find out the purpose for which you began this journey.
Yes, sir. How did you approach the examination itself? Could you take us through a strategy and mindset while preparing for the paper?
So basically, the strategy in the beginning, in my first attempt, I was not really aware of. I didn't have any practical experience of giving the exam. So I kind of went with the flow. There are a lot of mock tests which are conducted every year by coaching institutions. And if you are preparing for the exam, then you can always attempt those mock tests. They are quite close to the actual examination, and they will definitely help you to kind of prepare you for the D-Day. So that is how I began approaching the exam, by giving mock tests and learning from the mistakes that I was doing in the mock tests. So then in the mains stage, uh, I tried to give as many mock tests as possible and tried to solve as many questions as possible, because practice matters a lot in the mains stage. And for the interview stage, again, there are interview guidance programs which are conducted by various coaching institutions. So one can enroll in them and give mock interviews as well. That will really help uh, to kind of get a feel of the environment in that interview room, and how we have to conduct ourselves during the interview. So that really helped me. So this is the way in which I approach the exam.
Yes. What advice would you give to aspiring civil engineering candidates who are looking to crack the IAS exam?
So my advice will be, first of all, if they can, then they should start early. For example, I started after the fourth year, after I had graduated. But I think starting in the third, at the end of third year or in the fourth year, is a good time to start preparing for this exam if you have your like eyes set on this particular goal. I was not really sure of what my goal is at that point of time, so I did not begin. But I think the earlier you prepare, the earlier you will crack this exam. And in these kind of exams, it is always better to get in to the service at a young age, so that you can climb up the ladder to the higher level posts. So that is the first advice that I will like to give to the aspirants. The second one, I think, is always have a positive approach to the exam in your preparation journey. Don't ever feel that if you're scoring low marks in your mock tests, or if you were not able to clear the exam in your first attempt or the second attempt, the important thing is not to lose self-confidence. Self-confidence is the key. The moment we lose it, we there is no chance, irrespective of how many hours we put in to study. If we don't have self-confidence, we are not able to will not be able to clear the exam. So the second thing is always to have self-confidence, belief in your own abilities, and then put in the efforts, and then to always keep improving. That is the key, because um, consistently improving ourselves is the only way in which we can increase our chances of clearing the exam. Uh, I always used to look at my failures in a positive way by looking at the mistakes which I did in the exam. So do the hard work of looking at what went wrong. So when I failed in my first attempt, I went through all the marks which I had scored in the various parts of the exam. And then I looked at the areas where I had a great scope of improving. And in my second attempt, I focused on those areas. And that is how I was able to improve myself in the second attempt. So this kind of positive attitude is very important if you want to clear the exam. And thirdly, always try to have a group of friends who are there to support you, because uh, um, in today's world there may be times in the journey when you will feel low, when you will feel depressed, you will not feel like studying. But in these times, there will be these friends, your relatives, your parents, your siblings, who will really help you to get out from these times. So this is very important, to have these people who will support you in your tough times. So this is the advice that I like to give to the aspirants.
Yes, sir. Could you please tell us a little bit about your current role as an engineer in the Indian Engineering Services with the Central Public Works Department?
Okay, so basically, currently we are undergoing training. Uh, I will first of all like to tell the procedure of recruitment after we have been selected. So after the selection, there is a medical examination which is conducted, and after we are declared fit by the medical board, um, service allocation is done on the basis of our rank and the preferences which we have given to UPSC during the time of filling of DAF, that is detailed application form. And after we are allocated the services, the respective ministry, in my case, it was Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, that sends an appointment letter to us and invites us to join the training program. So our training began on 15th of March this year. And currently we are undergoing a 52-week training program in National CPWD Academy in Ghaziabad. And talking about my role, so the first position that we get is the assistant executive engineer. So talking about CPWD in general, CPWD is the premier construction agency for the central government, and there are a lot of works which are done by CPWD, and our clients include various ministries. Like for the Ministry of Home Affairs, we are building establishments for the Central Armed Police Forces. We are also working on the Indo-China, Indo-Bangladesh, and Indo-Pakistan borders. Apart from that, for the Ministry of Family and Health Welfare, we are constructing various hospitals like AIMS throughout the country. Then we also have clients like uh, the finance ministry, for which we construct various CGST buildings throughout the country. Then Delhi PWD is also an encadred post with the CPWD. So in Delhi PWD, we construct roads, buildings, various flyovers, as well as hospitals for the government of Delhi. And apart from this, our clients also include the Ministry of External Affairs, for which various embassies have to be planned and constructed by CPWD. And time and again, there are some works of national importance which are being done by CPWD. Like the Afghanistan Parliament building was built by CPWD. Then currently in Nepal, a police academy, and in Myanmar, a police academy for females, for women officers is being built by CPWD. And for the Ministry of Education, that is MHRD, we are constructing various IITs throughout the country. So this is a brief on the kind of work that we have to do as a part of CPWD. And I think it is a great organization to work with if one is interested in working in the technical field in civil engineering.
Okay. Finally, what are your future career aspirations and how do you plan on to achieving them?
Okay, so future aspirations, basically, what I want for myself is to be the best at what I'm doing. So I think the journey doesn't end at the moment we clear the exam. The journey just begins, because there are a lot of challenges which we'll be facing when we go to the field. So I think the only thing that I want for myself is to do my work to the best of my abilities, and to excel in each and every work that I am being given by the department. So that will be my future goal.
Okay, sir. It was very inspiring talking to you. We have come to the end of the interview. Hope to see you on yet another episode on the VLSI for All YouTube channel. Until then, goodbye. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Anurag.